November 21st, 2021, that was supposed to be this day of joy and excitement for the people of Waukesha, Wisconsin, because that is the day it held its annual Christmas parade. The theme of the 2021 parade, the 58th in the city's history, was comfort and joy, with dozens of local businesses, schools, sports clubs, and hundreds of Waukesha residents taking part. That year, the parade began at a junction of Pleasant Street and West Main Street, before following West Main to West Wisconsin Avenue and coming to an end after passing Cutler Park. However, shortly before the sun set, about 40 minutes-ish into the parade at 4:39 p.m., this day of joy and the best, the community has to offer, it switched from celebrations to pure chaos and violent carnage. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we're going to take a look at the Waukesha Christmas Parade attack. The incredibly horrifying event that occurred, the manhunt then after. And get this, folks, in a story that's already as bizarre and horrifying as they come.
My ID! My ID!
Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up!
The eventual trial would be the most bizarre part of all, because a man named Daryl Brooks, he was thinking to himself he could crazy his way out of anything.
It is disrespectful to me that you think I would come in here purposely and treat this like a joke or a game.
I never said it was a joke.
What type of statement is that?
Folks, set your phasers to what this shit.
Your life is not on the line.
Now folks, let's give it a go. On a late Sunday in November, the people of Waukesha, Wisconsin, they're only mad for it. They were getting ready, they were getting excited, and they were happy out. They were chuffed, right? Because the Christmas parade, it was going as planned, and everybody was having a good ass time. But we're not going to talk too much about the good side of the parade, unfortunately. We're gonna go straight to when it went from a good ass time to the direct opposite of that. Detective Tom Casey of the Waukesha Police Department was helping with traffic control when he began hearing screaming. Detective Casey looked on, first in confusion, then in horror, as a crowd of parade onlookers parted to reveal a red Ford SUV that appeared to be heading right for him and the parade behind him. The detective yelled for the driver to stop, but even as he clearly tried to position himself directly in the car's path, the driver continued on. Casey was forced out of the vehicle's path and he helplessly looked on as it tore past him and towards Main Street. As the SUV was actually going past Casey, it was going slow enough at this point that he was able to actually pound his fist onto the windshield, demanding it stop. As you can imagine, punching a car does not make it stop. Once the vehicle cleared him, before it had even gotten into the parade, Casey had called for assistance as something was going horribly wrong with the parade. I mean, at this point, it wasn't, readily apparent what the driver was up to, what they were thinking. Maybe it was just a horrible accident, somebody cut the brakes. But it didn't seem like it was that. However, from what authorities saw, it seemed that the driver, as soon as they saw the parade, they stepped on the gas. This red SUV then began accelerating. It was getting faster and faster as it got closer to the parade. So what happened when a 3,500 pound Ford Escape slammed into crowds of people and then, just kept going? It's sort of hard to put into words. Along its route, the Ford ran through dozens of people, beginning with the Dancing Grannies, through the Waukesha South Marching Band, Burris Logistics, Waukesha Blazers baseball team, Waukesha Extreme Dancing Group, all the way to the team from Citizens Bank. The resulting carnage was definitely something that nobody, I think, should witness. It was as horrifying as you can imagine it would be when a big SUV slams into a group of people and just keeps on going. It was like the driver was trying to empty the gas tank. And that's not even counting the families and the kids that had gathered up alongside of the parade, getting into the holiday mood. Human beings, some elderly, some children, bounced off the hood of the SUV, and some were pulled underneath. Witnesses would later describe seeing the vehicle literally back over bodies as it tried to get clear and keep going. One witness saying it saw the car run over a woman's head. It was pure terror as victim after victim fell. Some people just tried to run away from the scene as fast as they could. Other people, they stayed there trying to shield and protect their families. Most people didn't even have time to realize, what was going on until it had already happened. The vehicle entered close to the start of the parade and continued on along the route, hitting person after person for more than a mile. All along the route, it was the same. Calls went out to all emergency services. There was a mass casualty incident. All available personnel from police, fire and rescue, even local FBI agents in the vicinity were all called to the parade scene. Hospitals were warned that they were about to be flooded with victims, while emergency services themselves were being flooded with tips and descriptions and videos from the scene. Nobody knew what the shit had just happened. The most obviously and critically injured were put into ambulances, others into cars. ProHealth Waukesha Memorial Hospital was closest, a little over a mile away, and nurses from ProHealth had been participating in the parade and had just phoned their colleagues ahead of the first patients coming through the doors, which would only be 2 or 3 minutes later. The response was swift and dramatic. Within an hour of the incident starting to unfold, several of the devastated victims were already undergoing surgery at Aurora Summit Medical Center, 15 miles from the parade route. Ultimately, 5 people would lose their lives on the day of the parade. One more than the day after. 6 children required emergency surgery the day of the parade, and then the next day another 2 kids had to have emergency surgery to try and save their lives. Now, the majority of the dead were members of this dance troupe called the Dancing Grannies. The troupe had lost three beloved members. Virginia Ginny Sorensen and Tamara Durand were killed almost instantly. Ginny had been at the back carrying the group's banner. The third member killed was Leanna Owen. Victim number 4 was also connected to the dance group. 81-year-old Wilhelm Hospel's wife, Lola, had been performing with the group that day. Wilhelm had driven his wife and several of her pals to the parade, as he had done at plenty of events before. This time, though, Lola would be going home alone, as Wilhelm was killed watching his wife perform in the group. The 5th adult victim was 52-year-old teller at Citizens Bank, Jane Coolidge. Jane had been marching in the parade with her colleagues when the SUV had ripped through the revelers. By the Tuesday evening after the attack, the news broke. A 6th victim had succumbed to their injuries, and it was even more tragic than the previous 5, as this time it was 8-year-old Jackson Sparks. The hunt was quickly on, as you probably would have guessed, for the driver of that fucking SUV. And with the full force of the city's and state's law enforcement, the hunt didn't last too long. Because I'll tell you, after leaving the scene, the SUV somehow managed to limp away. But they'd made absolute shite of the SUV at this point. It was entirely written off. The front end was all smashed up. The rear end was shot to shit. Stuck between the dented, twisted metal of the Ford's hood were several items of clothing belonging to the victims it had struck. The car wasn't in any condition to crawl away from the scene, let alone flee in any meaningful way. The driver did, though, manage to get away from the immediate scene, but was forced to ditch the car, which soon would have everybody in the city looking for it. Now, the totaled car, which again, hadn't made it far from the scene, even though the driver was nowhere to be seen, The totaled car gave the investigators a name. The name of, well, probably the fella who was in it. And his name was Daryl Brooks. Alerts and APBs went out on all law enforcement agencies in the area to find this guy. Find him yesterday. Meanwhile, though, a visibly panicked Brooks began going door to door on Elizabeth Street after ditching his car. He claimed to be looking for somebody to call him an Uber.
Hey, I called an Uber and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please?
He would eventually find himself at the home of Daniel Ryder, who opened his home to Brooks after he had claimed to be homeless and in need. Ryder saw that Brooks had no coat or shoes, despite how it was below freezing that evening. Not only did Daniel Ryder give Daryl Brooks his own jacket and a sandwich, he also offered to find him a pair of shoes too. Ryder, of course, had no idea of the reality behind Brooks needing to get out of Dodge, and calmly watched as Brooks called his mother on Ryder's phone, though he'd only learned the identity of the person on the other end of the line when she called the number back later on. Now Daniel Ryder, who had let this guy in, how you doing? He'd let him in out of the kindness of his heart. This guy who was looking kind of shady and demanding to get off the street. He would only sort of realize, like, what this shit is all this about when he saw, like, a lot, like copious amounts of police cars and sirens going off, driving down his street, very clearly looking for somebody. Maybe it's the guy who was desperate to get off the street, you just let it know, probably not him. It was in fact shortly after that one of Ryder's neighbors, they recognized that Daryl Brooks was the man on the run because he just kind of ran into a whole parade of people.
277. What's up? Hands up! Put your hands where I can see them. Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do it now!
Hey, take to one of the hospitals for a plan care.
What did I do? Lay on your stomach. What did I do?
Officers would arrive and in fact end up detaining Daryl Brooks without too much of a fuss. And during them arresting him, a sandwich happened to fall out of Daryl Brooks's pocket. Pocket sandwich.
I just used somebody's phone to call for a living, that's all.
Oh, okay.
That's what I need. Yeah, one male 1026, the black male in red short t-shirt.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
If everything turns out to be on the up and up, life will be good, and you'll be on your way, all right?
I got it, guys, I got it.
Do you have any weapons on you?
No, sir.
What's your name, guy?
9209.
I just told her my name.
What is your name?
Yes, sir.
What's your first name?
Darrell Brooks? Yes, sir.
Additional victims to return on the next block.
Copy. No additional victims.
This matches the description of the guy that got called on who was going door to door over here.
Yeah, I was
Where
trying.
are your shoes, man?
I was trying to use somebody's phone.
Where are your shoes?
My flip-flops is in his house. I was coming from that parade down here.
Okay.
I know a friend down here. Did I do something?
That is yet to be determined, sir.
In Brooks's pocket was a black Ford key, which matched the Ford Escape used in the attack. The car was quickly connected to Brooks, though being registered to his mother. Some more of Brooks's personal items were later found hidden in a child's playhouse, a tactic that wasn't new to Brooks. He had fled the car he had made shite of with people, hidden a load of his shit in a children's playhouse he found while going door to door demanding to be let in. Interestingly, during his previous arrests, which we will get to, so look forward to that, folks, he kind of made a habit of hiding in children's playhouses. I wouldn't even trust him with a children's playhouse. He'd been trying to change his appearance by dumping his jacket as soon as he exited the car. So the suspect was quickly identified as 39-year-old Milwaukee native Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. I'd say Manson lamps, but they're like Manson, Dahmer, Gain, Gacy lamps all rolled into one. A convicted felon and registered sex offender with outstanding warrants for a statutory sex crime out of a Nevada court. Just when I was beginning to like him. The story of Darrell Brooks is a story of a man who hated everything. He hated the world, right? And he didn't care who he lashed out at. He wanted to cause as much damage as possible. He's not exactly somebody, you want to be found by. And sure folks, with half of our lives being online these days, you can say the same about the internet. It's best not to be found by anybody on there. Thing is though, with this old fangled thing called the interwebs, you only see, when you're browsing and doing your whatever, you only see the surface level stuff, whatever you're Googling. You don't see all of the numbers and processes and protocols that are going on behind the screen. One is how every time you use the internet, computer, phone, whatever it is you connect, your location, your real-time location is tracked. It's called your IP address. Finding out somebody's IP address, where they are in real time, it's surprisingly, kind of worryingly so, easy. People finding your real-world location, your work, your home, that's where you sleep and poop. Occupado. Changing where the internet thinks you are is a good idea for many reasons. And if you're looking for a VPN, the best in the business is my good friends over at NordVPN. NordVPN ensures that nobody can trace your IP address, your physical location, and it does so by routing your IP address through some other location. You can pick which one, so the mysterious overlords of the internet, they'll think you're there, not where you are. If somebody wanted to track you, I would say good luck to you. But also, another benefit, you can access content that is sometimes only available in certain geographic places. Movies, TV shows, news articles. Personally, folks, I've been using NordVPN for years. I use it almost every single day when I'm working, and news articles oftentimes are only available where I am not. So I use a VPN. I'm there now. Well, they think I'm there now. It's also the most reliable, it's the safest one you can use, and it has a whole host of other features too. Nord has a password manager, a data scanner, a dark web monitor that gives you alerts if your credentials have been leaked, and Nord's threat protection blocks nefarious websites and advertisements. It scans files and it stops trackers from tracking you. Nord's goal is, and has always been, to make the internet better than it is today, free from online threats, surveillance, and censorship. I do not like threats, surveillance, and censorship. So, become safer with a click by downloading NordVPN today. And if you use my special link, that is nordvpn.com/thatchapter, you can get an exclusive deal. If you get a 2-year plan, you'll also get 4 months extra, right here at nordvpn.com/thatchapter. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you so much to NordVPN for supporting That Chapter. Now let's get back to it. Daryl Brooks was born February 21st, 1982, raised by a single mother. He was named Darrell Brooks because the word shite was already taken. Daryl Brooks' criminal history went all the way back to September 5th, 1999, when he was first arrested and charged as a junior in high school with inflicting substantial bodily harm, a felony, at just 18 years of age. That first incident, because we kind of have like a few to go through, so look forward to that. That would be like the beginning of a decades-long attempt by Brooks to sort of just prove to the world how much of a giant piece of shit he was. The assault had been severe enough that Brooks was given 3 years probation and a 6-month custodial stay at Franklin's Milwaukee County Community Reintegration Center, following a guilty plea. He'd be returned to the House of Correction for another 70 days on charges of possessing marijuana and obstruction. He faced charges of obstruction once again in February 2005, this time in Manitowoc County, which resulted in a bench warrant being issued after Brooks failed to show up for court. He'd later be found guilty and sentenced to 2 days in jail, but credited with time served. I mean, he was collecting charges and convictions like they were Pokemon cards, like they were Skittles. He couldn't get enough of them. It was mad for him. But the most significant and telling escalation in Brooks's criminal behavior came in November 2006 in a place called Sparks, Nevada, because that was when he found himself facing felony charges of statutory sexual seduction. See, these charges related to Brooks getting into a romantic relationship with a 15-year-old girl, who then got pregnant as a result. Now, that case came to a close in March 2007 when he pleaded guilty, and he was sentenced to anywhere between 1 to 3 years. He served about half of that, about 1.5 years. He was released in September 2009, and you know what? You'd think after all these kind of dirty shites he's been up to, maybe he might want to stop doing all that, but he was thinking, nah. By the way, during his stay at the cheapest hotel in Nevada, he appeared in a documentary called Crystal Darkness, giving details of his own experiences with crystal meth.
You actually become the drug. not even human being. Basically, that's how I felt. Like I wasn't a human anymore. I was just something vile, disgusting, despicable. I could go on. I could use a lot of words, but that's what I became. It's really what I became.
Now, after his release from Nevada, he returned to Wisconsin, but he remained in trouble. On February 24th, 2010, Brooks was arrested again, this time in relation to a domestic disturbance in which a woman told officers Brooks had thrown her to the ground and grabbed her by the throat, choking her. He was charged with strangulation, battery, and criminal damage. He entered a plea of no contest in August 2010 and managed to get the charges reduced to a single one of strangulation, for which he'd served 90 days with work release. The sentence was followed by 3 years of probation. So I can hear you barking, big dog. You're probably guessing, wow, he's done a lot of sick shit, but kind of keeps getting off, like with a little tap on the wrist. You know, he's never really doing, you know, the full time in jail. It seems like the law had a lot of opportunities to lock up this clearly very, very dangerous person. Like a lot of opportunities. And they never did. They always were just like, you little scamp, get out of here. And that's why he kept doing it. Because not only had he plenty of experience with, you know, violence and that sort of thing, he also had plenty of experience with using his weapon of choice, a car. So even just 1 month before the parade incident, his ex-girlfriend reported that he had tried to hit her with a car. But go back even a decade earlier, before the parade attack, Brooks was charged with resisting a police officer, a Milwaukee PD police officer. Basically, Brooks had been driving, pulled over for not wearing his seatbelt. I mean, you'd think that's kind of an easy thing to rectify and maybe just wear your seatbelt, but Daryl Brooks said no. And then what could have just resulted in a fine became a much more serious charge when the officer believed Brooks was about to drive away. Again, just not wearing a seatbelt. The officer narrowly avoided being hit by Daryl Brooks' car as he tried to make his getaway, but he managed to jump into the car, wrestle the keys off Brooks. Brooks probably could have faced an attempted murder charge of a police officer. Probably wouldn't have been a bad thing if he did, knowing what he would go on to later do. Okay guys, I know what you're thinking, right? Bit of a dickhead, but I have just the thing to change your mind. Predator, ding. Child molester, ding. Killer, ding. Woman beater, triple ding. Musician, quadruple ding. See, Darrell also went by Math Boy Fly. Yes, his rap name was 3 Things He Loved: numbers, children, and insects. And his music, well, folks, it's time to separate the art from the artiste, because it is absolutely...
Jumping off the chain like what's the business? I'ma pull up with the yay like what's the business? Eating lunch with the blood like what's the business? AR double drum like what's the business? Money calling on the line, I couldn't budge still. 420s, I just counted off a drug deal. You ain't a grinder, you got fronted, how your plug feel? Get them in, get them gone, that's how my plug feel.
Hilarious. He doesn't even know the words to his own stuff.
What's the business? What's the business?
Sure, look at him, looking for the business. Will he find it? Stay tuned. So yeah, that's shite. Now you can lump the art in with the artist in this one, and then lump both of them into the sea. In Minecraft, of course. There's no kids in there, Darrell. Brooks got himself into trouble repeatedly over the next few years because he was labeled as a sex offender due to that charge in Nevada, but he never signed the yellow registry because he was thinking, sure, not me, why would I be doing that? That included in November 2012 when he gave a fake address to the registry, and when they did one of their like random sweeps, well, if you can believe it, he just wasn't there. I mean, literally when he was released in 2008, he not a one time did he sign on to the registry, like properly. He didn't even register in Wisconsin at all as a registered sex offender. So I guess that would make him an unregistered sex offender. On July 28, 2020, Brooks was involved in an incident in which he allegedly shot at one of his relatives and their friend following an argument. No one was injured, but Brooks was charged with 2 counts of recklessly endangering safety and a single count of possessing a firearm as a felon. Now, Brooks would be released from that charge in November 2021, and that's when his, it escalates even more. I know as hard as that is to believe that it can escalate more, he figured it out. He managed to figure it out and do just that, ultimately ending with where we know this will end. From trouble relating to an ongoing and long-running dispute with his ex over child support payments, to numerous domestic violence charges. In May, he was arrested for beating a woman at a hotel in Georgia. He later failed to show up for a court hearing he'd agreed to attend. Which brings us back to an incident I briefly mentioned. On November 2nd, 2021, he gave his ex the old GTA treatment, in which at a gas station he punched her and then drove over her leg. I guess driving over her leg gave him a taste of doing more of that, because 19 days later, he drove a 2010 red Ford Escape into the annual Christmas parade, driving into 80 people, murdering 6. Brooks was taken into custody without too much fuss, which is pretty surprising given what he'd done shortly before. Importantly, body cam footage of the arrest would show that officers simply ordered Brooks to the ground, which he complied with. At no point did they force him or throw him to the floor. Yet by the time he was in the interview room, talking to the police, which you can imagine would be like right after, he was saying, "Oh, Jesus, lads, my shoulder. You didn't have to be so rough."
You injured at all, dude?
Yeah.
What hurts?
When they slammed me, my knee, I already have an injury.
Spread your feet for me.
Okay, yes. That's my ID.
It certainly is.
Yes. I'm so cold.
I bet you are.
And God bless the interviewing detectives who had to try and navigate Brooks's constant attempts to try and derail the entire line of questioning. Initially, when Darrell was arrested, police didn't even tell him it was in relation to the Christmas parade attack. They said they brought him in about some domestic abuse charges, that his baby mama was giving out about him as usual. Domestic abuse, which one, am I right? Darrell, of course, said he was hanging out with his baby mama, and then he was going to watch the Packers football game. What parade? There's a parade? Who knew?
Do you have any questions before I start for me?
Only thing I want to know is, what in the heck am I being charged with anything?
I'm just trying to figure out how you got here.
Yeah, I know, but it seemed like you trying to spin me up or something.
I'm just asking how you got here. Whose car did you drive out here?
I didn't drive at all.
Whose car did you come out here in?
My friend.
Okay, right. What kind of car is it? Well, do you want to tell me about the car?
He's going on a couple minutes.
Yeah, but
I got to call him. I can come back, but
listen, I'm willing to listen, Carpenter. You've been straight up with me. You've been straight up with me, right? All I'm saying is I just want to know what I'm looking at and if I can just notify my girls. That's it. I don't have a problem with talking to you guys at all. I just want to know what am I looking at.
So what happened, Darrell, where you ended up? So I know you say you're not familiar with the area. So
At all.
I'll lay this out for you. How did you end up at a guy's house asking to use his phone without your phone in your shoes? You understand where that's kind of weird? How did you get to be over there? What happened? And I just have concerns if I fact check that Darrell's not telling me the truth. So why did we find you with a car key in your pocket?
It wasn't in my pocket. I don't even know where they said that was laying on the ground.
That's yours.
Yeah. It should have been by my ID.
Yeah, it's yours. It's your car key, okay? Because it goes to a Ford Escape in your mom's name covered in Waukesha. Okay. Listen, Darrell. I'm trying to be as open and honest with you as I can be. I'm Christian too, and believe me, I'm not perfect. And neither are you. And I'm not calling you a terrible man. I'm not saying you were out yesterday hunting, and just let me finish. For the love of God, Marcus. For yourself, for your family, you know what happened yesterday. For the people, Tell me what happened. Some people said you were driving kind of crazy. I got reports of it. You got the key, you got the car. Did you take the car, or did your mom give you the car? I know you know what car I'm talking about.
I wish they had some Tylenol. I've been trying to fight this pain, man, since...
They might, I don't know.
They show...
I don't know how... Did you ask them?
Yes.
So they don't?
They just said they'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. It hurt worse now than it did yesterday. Or last night, rather.
Yeah, it's going to be sore.
It's definitely sore.
There's no doubt about that.
Oh, my God.
Take a break and see if we can round up some time on what I mean.
If he couldn't, like, push in some irreverent tangent into the conversation, he was just complaining about how much his shoulder was sore. I mean, honestly, poor him at this point.
See what we got.
Dude, it gotta be something wrong, man. How in the hell is it?
Sometimes sprains will pop, too.
Whatever they did, it hurt so bad.
Now, folks, you might notice the really weird thing is that his pain seems to leave when police exit the room. That's weird, huh? His shoulder is grand now.
What if it wasn't me driving? What if it wasn't you? What if it was my mom's truck? Mm-hmm. But I wasn't driving. Mm-hmm. What if it was you? What if it wasn't me? Mm-hmm. Who else would it be? That's what I'm asking. What am I facing? That's all I want to know. I don't have no problem talking with you guys.
You got people injured that had to go to the hospital.
So they're saying I injured somebody, or you're saying I injured somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at what, reckless endangerment?
At the very least, yeah.
The very least.
People got hurt. That's reckless endangerment. I don't know exactly what they're going to classify it. Yeah, people had legs broken.
Endangerment's where you may have hurt somebody by your actions. You did hurt somebody by your actions.
So what am I being charged with? That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know exactly yet.
We're still working that out.
I don't know all of the details. You're not going to get that out of me. I'm sorry. I'm explaining to you. You're driving down there. You're looking at people got hurt. People got some broken legs.
And y'all saying that's me?
I know that's you.
How you know that's you?
Because I can recognize you. I can tell it's you.
Yeah.
And that's your mom's car, which you had the key for. I can ID you, Darrell. I'm just asking you to be honest about it.
Be honest about what I'm facing.
Even when told when literal children had been hurt and one kid died, you'd still pass Brooks saying, but my shoulder though, that's the real problem here, lads. His apparent inability to answer even like the simplest, most basic questions would soon become the bane of Judge Jennifer Doro's life as she presided over the sham. That's the only way of putting it. The sham of a trial. That, I mean, it's entertaining, folks. You got a lot to look forward to here.
Briefly, Judge, I've observed that for about the past 40 minutes, Mr. Brooks appears to be asleep in the courtroom. I don't know if he's just being disrespectful, uninterested, or if he's not feeling well. But to avoid a appellate issue in the future, I think it'd be appropriate to inquire if he is capable of assisting in his own defense at this point.
All right, why don't I give the defense attorneys a moment. We'll mute the microphone so they can talk to Mr. Brooks, make sure he's feeling okay, and make an assessment of his ability to assist in his defense during these proceedings. I'll step off while we do that.
All right, and we're going to take a break and then we'll...
Brooks faced his first charges, a whole bundle of felonies, on November 23rd, including 5 counts of first-degree homicide, which would rise to 6 a few days later, after 8-year-old Jackson Sparks passed away that evening. His bail was set at $5 million. Now, in the early days of him moving through the court's process, Brooks seemed to be kind of doing, like, it basically seemed to be going the exact way everybody sort of kind of expected it would go, which is him just sort of taking the piss out of everything.
The avoidance in his responses to questions asked.
I object to that because at the end of the day,
I understand, Mr. Brooks, stop. You can object. Your objection is noted. I'm going on. This is one of the expectations that I have, is you can object. It will be noted, but you can't keep interrupting. I need to have an accurate record.
Okay.
So your objection, sir, your objection is
from
noted.
Something that I haven't been privileged to read myself.
This is a prime example of some of the difficulty with Mr. Brooks.
I don't think you have a PhD, Your Honor.
He can be, in my opinion, deliberately disruptive, but nonetheless, he maintains being competent at the most basic level in order to present a defense on his behalf.
Object to that.
Initially, Brooks had appointed court lawyers ready to represent him. They were the ones who would help him enter his plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Early on, they also filed requests for a change of judge and venue. The first was granted. He did get a change of judge, though I'm sure in retrospect, Brooks wished it hadn't gone through. Consider it's the reason he would end up face to face with Judge Jennifer Darrell. The change of venue, though, request that was denied. Brooks's insanity defense would also be withdrawn a couple of months after first being entered, following reports of court-ordered psychiatric tests. So you can probably guess that them withdrawing the plea of guilty by insanity, he knew the reports were not going to say he was insane, so he was shit out of luck.
I cannot say that this is one of those narrow class of Mr. Brooks.
I object, which is my First Amendment right to be able to say what I want.
Mr. Brooks, your rights do not involve interrupting me. That's the,
I objected. I didn't interrupt.
That's the procedure that we will follow. At trial, what's going to happen if you continue to do that is you will be admonished in front of the jury.
That's fine.
If you continue that.
That's fine.
Like I said, this is not one of the narrow class of cases in which a defendant may not be competent to represent himself because there's no evidence before the court to suggest he has a severe mental illness.
So while Brooks wasn't, the trial was as insane as any you will ever see. I'm sure you've seen some clips already. That's thanks largely to a ruling in September of 2022 when Judge Jennifer Darrell, she granted. She said, hell yeah, you can dismiss your court-appointed lawyers and representatives. You can dismiss them. You want to do this yourself, big guy? Great.
Mr. Brooks,
sit up here, act like you know me. People like you don't, y'all
Mr.
you
Brooks.
don't know nothing about where I come from.
Mr. Brooks.
You push me, dog. Don't push back then.
Mr. Brooks.
Don't push back. Push me again.
Mr. Brooks, we have to continue with this hearing.
Want to talk to each other now? No, I'm worried about, man, don't put your hand on me, dude.
Nobody put their hands on you.
Yeah, they better not put their hand on me.
Okay, Mr. Brooks, you need to look at me for a minute, okay?
Why? To listen to all this political stuff y'all got going on?
Mr. Brooks, I'm more concerned about...
Don't touch me, dog. Stay seated.
All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back after lunch. I'm not going to do this with him right now. He needs to be here. He's not cooperating. I'm going to give you the warning, Mr. I will give you the warning that if you continue to interrupt when we go back on the record, you will forfeit your right to be in the courtroom today.
Yeah, that's like basically the entire trial in a nutshell. Like this is the perfect example of you may have heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's basically that some people, the stupider you are, the smarter you believe you are. So you'll find dumb people are very confident, which they should not be. And this is a prime example right here. Like reading a sentence and understanding a sentence, not exactly the same thing. And I don't think that Brooks read a lot about the law in the lead up to the trial, which honestly sort of just makes it more entertaining. And anything he did read, he sure as shit didn't understand.
Is he still
object
able...
to that, Your Honor. I'm not allowed to
Her
keep...
answer stands. There's no question to which to
I
object.
object to that. There is.
You can't testify at the moment. If you want to provide further information after she is done testifying, I will give you that opportunity. Your objection is overruled.
Will she be able to stay right there so I can ask the question?
You have got to stop. It's fine if you object. I will rule on it as I deem appropriate under the rules of evidence, which, by the way, I provided a copy for you. See that big book over there?
No, I don't
it
see
has
it.
the criminal statutes.
I don't see it.
It has the traffic code. It
I
has the
don't
rules
see
of evidence. Well, it's on your table. It's behind the microphone, and it's there. I've provided it to you as a courtesy so that you have that available to you.
You did not provide anything to me.
In short, the prosecution, being a team of highly trained and well-read lawyers with years and years of trial experience between them, presented the state's case with a thorough professionalism. They called dozens of witnesses, presented hundreds of items of evidence, and carefully detailed the narrative of the day in question based on the facts available. Brooks, by the way, he saw them do this and was like, nah, he did none of that. He said, sure, why would I be fucking nerds? I'm not doing shit. Hey, crazy beats strong every time, and he's gonna crazy his way out of this one.
Obviously, I don't have any rehearsed or well-prepared speech, so I'm just gonna speak from the heart. There's always two sides to every story.
When it came time for opening arguments, for example, you know when the defense and the prosecution, usually time to do kind of an outline, a broad outline of what they're going to be yapping away about. Brooks instead decided, I'm not gonna tell you what I'm about. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I basically just gave this like hilarious, like rambling, incoherent, big long diatribe of shite.
Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. It's easy to disregard a lot of factors, a lot of misunderstanding.
Something he did, by the way, throughout the trial, and again at his closing argument. Like, Brooks's incompetence was so obvious that if he hadn't murdered, quite a lot of people, it would be hilarious what he was doing the show trial. Judge Darrell did everything she could possibly do to avoid a mistrial, which seemed to be probably what Brooks was aiming for, including handling Brooks with the kiddiest of kid gloves. Earlier, she had ruled he was competent and intelligent enough to defend himself, which was a very low bar. Brooks showed such a clear and obvious misunderstanding of not only simple comprehension, but also an astounding misinterpretation of fundamental legal terms. It's like that old one about how the North Koreans landed a rocket on the sun, because they did so at night. The lies are so stupid, it's almost hilarious, and frankly, you can get the popcorn out.
And you had torn ligaments?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
You say that in the question before?
Sí.
Yes.
And were those both in the same leg?
Objection leading.
Sí.
Sorry,
Yes.
overruled. If we
Of course.
just wait when there's an objection. I'm overruling it. It's relevant. It's not leading. The witness's answers may stand.
Yeah, you overrule every objection.
And the jury will disregard the additional commentary made by Mr. Brooks at this time.
Judicial misconduct at his findings. That's not gonna work either.
Mr. Brooks, you are advised to stop with the commentary.
No, I'm gonna say what I want
You
to say.
called this witness. Mr. Brooks, you keep making that statement, but it's a misstatement of the requirements in the law.
Are you aware what a plaintiff is?
Objection relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Next question.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor?
Next question.
You could have thrown the dog in there, and it probably would have put up a better legal argument against him getting what he was going to get.
I can see clearly you know nothing about the law. It seems like you have a tenuous grasp on the English language in general.
And you think that I think this is funny?
Now, Brooks's last-ditch attempt to avoid what he likely knew what was coming was that, he was arguing that the jury should just be allowed to say, nope.
You have the power to nullify any law that you don't agree with.
Objection. Move to strike misstatement.
Sustained.
Objection.
I will strike from the record the last statement made by the defendant. The jury will disregard it.
Which is clearly what I've been saying.
Brooks attempted to push the concept of jury nullification on the 12 citizens who'd soon be deciding his fate. In short, nullification relates to the idea that there is absolutely nothing at all stopping a jury member from disregarding everything they've heard throughout the course of the trial, no matter how lopsided the evidence and facts may be, and just return the verdict that, hey, they just feel like returning, Basically, it's like a verdict based on feelings, not facts. And he thought, sure, Daryl Brooks, he's just so damn lovable. He's just such a charmer that he will win them over. And they just love him, so they'll, say not guilty. Because he's great. What do you think happened? Listen, I could show you clips and we would be here for hours and hours. I mean, it was a 16-day long trial, and the clips, they go off the charts and are extensive. But there's only so much of Darrell I can kind of put up with. So here's a compilation of his greatest hits. I mean, for this, I literally would use Yakety Sax, but, well, who can afford the rights to that? So life insurance music will have to do.
I'm not finna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
Mr. Brooks, please stop. Once
So
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she
disrespectful,
was when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask that question
He is
too then.
over the
Did you
top
ask that?
animated
Did you
right
know
now.
that?
Mr. Brooks, I'm ordering you to sit down and to let the state
No,
finish.
no, I'm not gonna sit here and let somebody be inaccurate on the record. I don't take this as a game. That's what nobody. That's what nobody. You don't gotta explain nothing to me.
Do you want?
That's what you don't understand. You think
you
that
want
this
the
is a whole
opportunity
game
to
to me.
question?
This is not a game to me, Your Honor. Nothing about this is a joke.
I never
That's
said
what
it
y'all
was a
don't
joke.
understand. Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So as long as the jury's out, we should probably discuss that. I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy
So that had to
of
be
the
said. So it's the defendant. So she had the
alleged
elevator
record
voice
of
just for
ableist
that.
Stop talking. All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared. Just a reminder to everyone that I do expect everyone in the courtroom to demonstrate appropriate decorum and courtesy as the verdicts are read and refrain from audible responses. Any disruptions may result in removal from the courtroom. We, the jury, find the defendant, Daryl E. Brooks, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this 26th day of October 2022, signed by the foreperson, juror number 11.
Only 5 days shy of a year to the day of the parade attack, on November 16th, 2022, Brooks was given a life sentence for each of the lives he took. He was also found guilty of the other 70 related charges, which won him another 762.5 years. All of these sentences, the 6 life spells included, were to be served consecutively. He will die in jail, but the footage and the memes, they live on. Fortunately, unfortunately,
What's the business?
At his sentencing, Darrell spoke for 2 long-ass hours. But let's be honest, folks, we can wipe our ass with what he had to say. Why did he do this? Well, still to this day, no one knows. There's never been any clear motive in why Darrell did this, but most likely he was just acting out. He was angry at everyone, the world, and wanted to cause as much destruction as possible. He likely left his baby mama's house in a pissed off mood and decided to do what he had always done throughout his colourful history. Make his problems someone else's.
Perhaps the one question that will remain unanswered. Why? Why did you barrel down White Rock Avenue? Why did you not stop? Why did you keep going? You need to stop right now or you will be removed.
Remove me then.
All right, he will be removed. He cannot simply stay quiet
I don't consent
when this
to being
court talks.
sentenced anyway. I don't consent to this, just like I told you. I don't know the.
He'll be in recess until he's
I don't
removed
even
to the other
understand
courtroom.
the true nature and cause.
Meanwhile, the parade continues, albeit with a new legacy to forge. Rather than solely building on the long tradition of Christmas celebrations, the parade is now a point of pride, a display of resilience for the people of Waukesha, people who have come together again and again since the attack. First in the candlelit vigil just hours from the attack, then in the weeks and months to come. And they would raise millions for the victims and the families of the dead. While Daryl Brooks is in prison, you could probably make a pretty good reality TV show out of that. Oh, and Darrell Brooks is appealing his sentence, so there's that. Good luck, pal. I think it will go swimmingly for you, like everything has always done. Thank you so much for watching, folks. It means the absolute world to me that you're here watching this whole video. As always, means the world. So, thanks, I guess. But you know what? Until the next whole video, which will be up when it's up, give it a go. You can also check out the That Chapter Patreon. For $2 a month, you get early access ad-free all videos. There are Patreon-only videos there too, in a Discord. Or, how about this? Check out the That Chapter podcast, where every Monday morning, brand new podcast exclusive story talking about dark history and hauntings and all sorts of crazy things. So check it out if you know what's good for you. Or not. I'm not your boss. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I will tell you to take care of each other and yourselves, because all of you might get